So when Tandorio contacted me and asked me to review one of their watches, my first thought was, who are Tandorio? And to be honest, I think you may well be the same because they're definitely not that well known. So I didn't necessarily have particularly high expectations. But one thing that did give me cause to have hope was when in their email, they didn't ask me to say something specific. They didn't give me any sort of like, if you don't like it, just send it back and don't do a review or anything like that. All they said was, please give an honest review and tell everyone exactly what you think. Now, I love that sort of confidence, but let's see whether or not it's deserved. So this Tandorio diving watch has been my daily wear for about a week now. And it's not really been what I expected. See, this Tandorio sits in a really awkward price point for the market. It's around $100 US, which I think is about £80 in the UK, which means it is a fairly cheap watch, but it's not a really cheap watch. The other thing they've done, which I feel is brave, is they seem to have targeted Seiko very directly. This seems like a direct alternative to buying a Seiko diver's watch. So that means it's taking on the daddy, the Seiko 5, a watch I've always loved. So can this Chinese watch with a Seiko movement compete with a Seiko watch with a Seiko movement, if you see what I mean? Well, first thing to consider is you can actually buy 3 of the Tandorios for the price of 1 of those Seikos. So you could have 3 different colours. The movement inside is the, dare I say, legendary NH35. Now the NH35, or NH35A as it's also called, is an entirely self-winding automatic mechanical movement. So as well as obviously Seiko, this is the same movement that's used for a lot of different brands, including Invicta and the really quite pricey Spinnaker watches. But I don't want to get too bogged down in the movement. Let's have a look at the quality. Well, the first thing I've noticed is it has a screw down crown, which I think for this price point is very impressive, which is obviously how it manages to have a 200-meter rating for depth. Now, I'll be honest, I'm not a deep sea diver and I'm not going to go down 200 meters, but at least that means I can wear it in the swimming pool without worrying. My least favorite thing about this watch is the strap. But to be honest, that's just because I don't really like rubber straps. So it's difficult to really put that as an issue with the watch. But as a little bit of a sneak preview to you as to how much I like this watch, let's just say that I've asked my wife for Christmas to get me a really, really nice NATO strap, which is actually worth half what the whole watch is worth, just because I think it's going to look amazing with this watch. Now we come to the thing that I've basically been saving to tell you about. Now I've managed to persuade Alfie to be quiet, I can let you hear how good that bezel sounds. I know it might sound a bit funny, but I think you can actually tell a lot about the quality of the watch just by feeling things like the bezel and the strap and giving them a big pull in every direction. This has no movement. The machining feels amazing. And without hesitation, I'd say the quality is easily as good as a Seiko watch. So the dimensions. The case thickness is 16 millimeters. The width is 42.5 millimeters. And this time I preempted the question that everyone asked me, which is what grade of stainless steel it's made of, and that is 316L stainless steel. And the movement is fully hackable. which means very simply when I pull out the crown, the second hand will stop, so I can make a very exact synchronization of watches or whatever. It was something that was designed for the Air Force. Now, how am I going to demonstrate this with one hand? I think I have to take it off. Okay, so when I pull out the crown, I've already undone the screw down feature. As you can see, it stops. I can adjust the time, push it back in, and it starts again. So fully hackable. So it's got a 41-hour power reserve. So you can pretty much leave it for 2 days and put it back on and it will still be running just fine. I've experimented by leaving it 24 hours and it's definitely not made any difference, and I've got no reason to think it wouldn't last the full 41. So the question is this as good a quality as a Seiko watch or any of the other equitably priced watches out there, which there's a lot? But what I'm asking is it as good as a £300 to £1,000 watch when this one costs less than 100? And I think it actually is. I know you're probably going to find it hard to believe, but everything about it feels like a much, much more expensive watch. Even the weight. This is not some lightweight, cheap thing that's going to break. The edges, usually when I pick up a really inexpensive watch, first thing is I think, whoa, it's really light, but that's not the case for this. This is heavy. Second thing is I often feel that the machining on the edges is a thing to look out for. Run your finger like across the lugs and feel how sharp they are. This is really smoothed off. There's no scratches. It just feels so good. Could this be my new favorite budget brand? I don't want to put the cart before the horse, but I'm a little bit in love. I'm going to have a look at a few more of these Tandorio watches before I say the whole brand is perfect. But this particular watch, I just can't think of anything bad to say about it. And that makes me say to you, without any hesitation at all, go get one. Now, when I get my new fancy NATO watch strap, I might do another little video just to show you what it looks like with that. Because if I'm right, it's going to look absolutely mustard. Well, I really hope this has been helpful. I know it sounds like a bit of a one-sided review, but I'm honestly trying to think of problems with it. And right now, I just can't. Like I say, the strap I'm not especially fond of. But other than that, it's lovely. Let me know what you think. And I know any of these Chinese watch brands always split the comments of half of you saying, how dare you own a watch that's not made in Switzerland? And something similar to that, like anything but a Rolex should go in the bin. But this doesn't really compete with a Rolex, okay? I don't think they would say they compete with a £10,000 watch. Having said that, is it so different? Not really. Anyway, enjoy. I'll see you soon.